So today we're going to go into AskReddit and hear what is your weirdest experience while going to the gym. Okay, so maybe this is going to make me feel better about not going to the gym normally. Mr. Bleach says, a red hoodie guy would come into the gym always wearing the same red hoodie. He would hit the treadmill at 8 to 10 miles an hour and just go. He could keep the pace for 30 minutes but never seemed to get exhausted. Here's where it gets weird. It's not weird already? He must have had headphones under the hoodie because he would air guitar and headbang the entire time. Imagine a guy running at full tilt while shredding down the air guitar non-stop for half an hour, not breathing or heavily grunting, before abruptly stopping and walking out of the gym. Yeah, that's pretty intense. This guy right here says, this man's an anime character. Very true. On VF Blackfrost says, video game character with the analog stick tipped. Yes, he's just leveling up in the background. Torque Party says, sometimes I bob my head to the music I'm running to, but that stuff throws off my balance and concentration I keep to a minimum. I can't imagine full-on headbanging at the middle of a sprint. Maybe I just need to get good? Okay. The Butt Dog says, saw a guy on a stair climber wearing sunglasses and a leather jacket. I mean, he's cooler than us. Flying Grayson 85 says, good to know the phone still takes care of himself. He got silver for that comment. I can't believe it. Jays by Modi says, I accidentally put my number code into another lock that was beside me. Botched the last number and the lock actually opened. That's creepy. That's fate. I mean, I think that at that point in time, the guy earned whatever's in the locker, right? 1234? That's the same as my luggage code. Okay, whatever. Chaos Element says, I literally flexed on. I saw a girl who mistook me as somebody I knew. I went to say hi. She was cool about it, said it happened before. Then a guy comes over and says, hey, something going on here? And literally flexed. I never had a bad experience at the gym before, but this dude was above and beyond. Always see them together now. Dude must have some redeeming qualities about him. Or just very, very overbearing qualities. Come on, guys, says, maybe that was the first time they met and she immediately fell in love with him due to how hard he flexed his muscle. I'm doing this whole dating thing wrong then. Robissimo says, the harder you flex, the harder you rip. Okay. Carnage Best Villain says, a guy at a very nice luxury gym was not just dropping his squats. He was actively throwing them up and letting them drop 4+ feet into the safety rack, causing a ridiculously loud sound and crash. When I asked him to stop, he extremely was aggressive and rude and said he had been a member for 10 years. Management ended up kicking up about 10 minutes later. What? Tan Croissant, sir, we've only been open for 5 years. Okay, how are you getting 10,000 upvotes for that comment? Whatever. Seattle Coffee Roast says, I remember a guy would spit and lick his hands before lifting weights or using machines and wouldn't clean it afterwards. Oh, that's terrible. Then even weirder, he would straight up moan like he was effing while lifting heavier weights. It was weird and gross. Actually, I'll take this away and say, when I used to go to a gym, there would be a dude that would like bark and like grunt like as if he was DMX when he was lifting weights. It was insane, but I mean, I can't knock success because as you can tell, the guy was legit ridiculously buff. Salamandro says, right now I don't know if I find more gross. The dude was using bars of machines with salivated hands or him licking his own hands after each machine. True. I mean, people don't wipe the handles off using them, and God knows how often the personnel actually cleans them. Maybe that's what making him buff is, not only him fighting the weights, but his body having to fight all the different bacteria that's going into his system at all times. So McJames says, I hate to run, but run about a mile a day at a 10-minute mile pace before I go and do weights. Like, I hate it so much, I wish for a heart attack to take me away about minute 4. That's terrible. Any case, the treadmills at our gym have big timers on them and they're easy to read. I get on the treadmill one day and see the guy beside me is running a 5K, a preset on the machine, and has been there for about 4 minutes, but he's going fast, like full out sprint. I punch in my 12 minutes, 10-minute mile, 2-minute cooldown, and start to run. We finish at the same time. Dude ran a 5K in about 16 minutes, full on sprint the whole time. I was just kind of in a daze thinking about that the rest of my workout. I mean, some of us are different. King of people, whatever. I ran out 5K and I saw a guy do this right in front of me. It was an out and back loop trail, and I'm coming up to the halfway mark out of the portion, and here comes this dude like an effing freight train just steaming down the back portion at full speed. My wife and I just looked at each other like, oh, what the heck? Unsinkable rubber duck on your left. Oh, this guy's at what's the Eagle? I forget his name in Avengers. Erpty Derpty says, I was on the treadmill waiting for the only squat rack to open up. A guy holding it up talking to some other guy, and they talked for like 15 minutes. I was about to ask if I could work in, and then they just started praying. The other guy put his head down. The squat guy put his hands around the other guy's shoulder, and they started praying, doing that loud huh thing between their sentence Southern Baptist preachers do. Then another guy walked up to get in on the action at the loaded squat rack. Okay, I just went and worked my legs on the other machines. There has to be a better explanation. Hopefully this guy Dylan below that got gold has the explanation. Lord, bless these gains we're about to receive. That's the best. That's the best explanation we could have hoped for. You got more gold, says, in the name Father, Son, and Swoley Ghost. Give us this day our daily way. Why do we have to get so far down in this post to actually get some good content? Looking for astronauts, says, old man, oh my gosh, pleasuring himself. That is, no, I wish I didn't see that. Our Dad 54 says, back in the early 1980s and late 1970s, I used to work out at Gold's Gym in a western Canadian city. The gym was also the favorite workout spot for professional wrestlers when they were doing a gig in town. The weirdest thing was seeing how dramatically different some of the guys were in real life compared to the wrestling personas. Yeah, they're all playing characters. I mean, nothing against them. They're doing their thing. So, if you're still here and you're hanging out, please consider subscribing down below, commenting maybe something that you've seen at the gym or something that you would do at the gym that would make everybody feel weird. But I mean, if you got this far and you enjoyed, let me know down below. But back into the comments right now. So, oh yeah, this was still on the wrestling personas. One guy whose persona was of a British dock worker type would show up at the gym in a three-piece suit. Edit, no, he didn't work out in a suit. And speaking of the poshiest of British accents, he was constantly giving other wrestlers investment and tax advice. Apparently he was an accountant as well. That's actually pretty cool. What was surprising is that some of them weren't faking it, but in real life as rude, selfish, and ignorant as their characters. I also remember how sad it was seeing some of the older wrestlers who were really suffering from dementia, probably from cumulative effects of concussions, true, and were literally guided through everything by other wrestlers, even simple things like being dressed. I was impressed by the care some of these guys gave their older colleagues who needed constant attention. That's really sad. That's really sad. However, the most interesting experience was Jesse Ventura. Of course, when the wrestlers showed up, they generally followed around by the horde of fans, usually teenage boys. Some were hostile to their fans, telling them to F off, and others gave quick acknowledgement and moved on. Okay. However, Jesse would spend an incredible amount of time with fans, especially the younger ones, listening and talking to all of them with a total attention. I remember seeing him trying to do leg presses while taking questions to a crowd of boys about what it means to be a man. That's really cool. Even back then, he was just the heel, Jesse the body. Out of the ring, he showed that he understood the impact that he could have as a role model to young men and took it seriously. When he became governor of Minnesota, I was definitely not surprised. That's actually really cool when people meet their heroes and they're actually really, really cool people. I'll say one of the things is, if you live around the Los Angeles area, you probably see Big Boy from Big Boy in the Neighborhood. Whenever you see him out, for the most part, whenever I've seen him out, he's actually giving the same type of advice to like younger males, like, you know, telling them about like, you know, I don't know what he tells them, like business or, you know, developing or getting a career or something. But I've seen him constantly reaching out to youth that like want to spend the time and talk to him, which is like a really, really cool thing. Aethertech says, as a Minnesotan, we were kind of proud of Jesse. Somehow he became our governor and didn't F it up because he was smart enough to hire the right people and delegate correctly. Occasionally, I still hear him on 93X, our local rock station. That's kind of cool. Drop the ectopic beat? Okay. I always like when he's on the show. He doesn't BS on the views. Okay. Do a couple more of these. Portland Ninja says, years ago I was newly signed up on a gym, and my first day as a real workout, I approached by a woman who proceeds to tell me off and what I do not know. I explained I do not know her, nor do I know what she's talking about, and she says very snidely, oh, it must be your twin sister. Then who is this bee? I said yes, everywhere my sister goes, she creates headaches for me. I don't have a sister. And from the point, the woman sort of follows me around the gym every time we are there at the same time, commiserating about the sister I have and how I'm nothing like her. Thank God. Even though the story kind of was whatever, it was a weird occurrence at the gym, so I gotta give her credit there. Luke Mr. 99999. There's this guy and me and my old lifting partner used to call Asian guy. He's this guy that's like about 6'1", if I had to guess. Super lean, whitest lats, biggest traps you've ever seen. Anyway, I used to look forward to watching him lift. Okay. And for a while, I'd make sure that I was scheduling when I got to the gym for when the Asian guy got there, because for months at least 6 times a week, he would exclusively train legs. And by exclusively train legs, I mean he would be at the squat rack for no less than 3 hours. Okay. I'd always just kind of hang around to see if he'd do anything else or a little after my own workout, and for a period of time he never did. Until one day I was doing a push workout and he was doing lateral raises. I was using 15S or something for a light... Wait, 15S or something, really light for warm-ups, and in between squat sets he came over to the dumbbells and repped out like 3 sets of 50-pound lateral raises. This is very in-depth. So I looked at him weird, and he saw me and ran over to rep out another 5 sets of 365 squats. I was so stoked I saw him doing something other than squatting. I told my friend I saw Asian guy doing lat raises, trying to one-up me, and he responded by saying he did the same exact thing and the same exact exercise. Anyway, after a month, he started doing an actual normal rotation of push-pull legs and was far less entertaining, and somewhere along the way, he started using locker number that, which is one I usually use. So I started trying to go before he gets there. I miss Asian guy. I would love this to be some sort of movie or adaptation where the Asian guy never existed. It was just a figment of his imagination. Sunday morning Trisha says, the woman who was hanging out in the locker room in her underwear. She was there when I came in and still there an hour later. Someone told me she was probably an IG model doing a selfie photo shoot. And that's one thing I'll kind of take away from this, from my own story, is there was a guy that I knew that went to the gym, super big buff dude. He was really swole and he was always there. And I'm like, wait, I no matter what hour I go, morning, night, whenever my schedule changed, he would always be there. And he always just hanging out, just socializing. Every now and then he'd work out, but he'd mainly be socializing. And I was like, wait, this guy just lives it. I don't get it. But somebody told me, he's like, no, dude, he's like dealing like steroids and stuff. And I was like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. Where I'm like, well, how does this guy live here and just do nothing but loiter and socialize at the gym? It's like, no. He's at work right now. Terrible. One more. Duddy Maltese says, I was leaving the other day for showers and a girl, maybe 21, never spoken to her before, comes off the treadmill to speak to me, and the following conversation ensued. Her, are you going back to your car? Me, yes. Her, are you parked at the one you have to pay for? Me, you have to pay for all of them. Her, is it the one outside, not multi-stories? Me, there's 4 that are outside. Her, is it far? What's going on? Me, explain the location to try to progress the conversation to a conclusion. Her, okay then, don't worry. Me, bye. No context, no nothing. To this day, I can't figure out what her angle was, but it was very weird. Maybe inside her head, she had like a specific like game, or she was trying to get at the person, try to like, start a relationship, and just kind of got lost in the topic. Like, hey, I'm going to start the conversation about her parking spot, and we're going to segue into something, dating-wise, and I'll ask her out, and just couldn't get out of that original hinge or whatever. So I enjoyed figuring out why the reasons why I shouldn't go to the gym and stay insanely out of shape. But I mean, let me know below what you think. Subscribe if you haven't already. Check out the other videos, and also just if you made it this far in the video, you obviously like it. So make sure you subscribe and comment, and maybe give me a thumbs up.